Hey guys, good morning. Just a quick recap of the HVN zone. So this is one of the indicators which I've been testing since a lot of months, primarily about 6 more months. And what I've done is based on my understanding of the order flow, finding the trap buyers and sellers, leveraging the market profile learnings, right? So this particular indicator basically helps me identify the high volume node zones wherein a lot of balancing has happened and an area specifically where buyers or sellers are trapped. So ideally, primarily, how I use these zones is to identify areas of interest and looking for potential reversals or trade opportunities, right? So a couple of areas. So this is a HDFC Bank chart on a 15-minute time frame. So yeah, ignore these stars, but basically this is the level where I'm looking for price to tag and drop up to this particular level. So this is a different logic, which I share it with my paid members. But primarily in this video, what I'm trying to share is visualizing the print, visualizing the order flow, identifying the areas where who is trapped, and based on this, you can execute your trade plan. Okay. So right now in HDFC Bank, yesterday we had a short covering move. Primarily, day before yesterday is where a lot of sellers are trapped. So this is the zone of trapped sellers. Immediately, the first opening candle itself gave that the sellers are trapped and they are covering. So basically, it's a short covering move. And then when this was a retracement happening again, it was going towards the area where previously sellers were observed, right? So right now we are back to the 9th of June, the zone where there is consistent selling present, or sellers are present based on the data or based on the print. Okay. So overall, what's the expected outcome today is what I'm looking for is the pre-open data. So right now the time is 9:04. We'll be getting the pre-open data out pretty soon. I think in next 2 more minutes. But primarily, there are a couple of scenarios, which I built before I start my trading or before I start my trade plan. So the scenarios are where the open is the open within the zone, is the open below the zone, or do we open with a gap down, right? So primarily, what will happen is we will open up above the level, we will open below the level, or we will open at the level, right? So these are those three particular levels where I'm currently observing. Okay. So at the moment, the close of yesterday for this particular stock was at 1980. And primarily, this was also the zone where the highest volume was traded, right? So this particular zone for me is the area of interest, followed by, if I look above, again, another zone of interest wherein a lot of sellers are present, or they are present. And this was clearly evident why yesterday the price did not shoot up, primarily because of the zones or the selling which was seen on the session which was on the 9th of June, right? So 9th of June, and this was 8th of June. So on 8th of June, if you primarily see the auction, again short covering, and then we had a sort of a long liquidation. So basically taking out, so those who bought here, those who bought in this particular day or the zones, they are the ones who exited. Again, inventory got accumulated lower. And if I scroll to the left, we will clearly see, how things are happening, how things are working. So uh, primarily, this is the accumulation zone where previously the inventory which was accumulated in the month, or the beginning of the month, right? So this is the month low, the current month low, and we had a sort of an axis or a single print, right? So where exactly the accumulation of inventory happened, again a reaccumulation happened, and now we are at the distribution phase. Okay. So yeah, 9:06. So we will get the pre-open data out pretty shortly, and let's see how the overall uh, auction develops. But Primarily, the overall interest area is from 1990 to 1915. This is still a bigger range. And if I split it into half, so we move from the lower edge of the balance to the upper edge of the balance, right? And this entire zone is also in the accumulation side. Okay. So does this really work in other stocks? So I'm just bringing Apple. So Apple here, again, we can change it to 30 minutes or, we can keep it to 15 minutes. Depends on you. But primarily, Apple also is giving me the areas of interest where the sellers came in, where are the sellers trapped, right? So if you look at the recent zone, this was the zone. So from 197 to 196, this is that particular zone where the reversal happened, and then the inventory is trying to distribute higher, right? And where it is trying to distribute is previous zones where the sellers were present, right? So this works in any stock. This works also in ES. So right now I'm in the extended trading hours. This will clearly gives you the areas or the zones where buyers came in, right? So as the buyers accumulated the inventory, and now the distribution is happening, right? So inventory got accumulated. If you see the green dots or the green spots, green zones, so these are the high volume zones where the inventory got accumulated, and where it got accumulated previously to the area where the sellers were trapped, right? So this also you can use as price action, and from the investment perspective, if you are a swing trader or a short-term investor, you can primarily mark your levels and wait for price to reach at your levels. So you can basically set alerts, and then you can execute your trade plan. This also works on the smaller time frame. I'll go to that in some time. But primarily, this is where inventory got accumulated. Again, they accumulate the inventory, and then distribution is happening. Okay. I'll just switch over to HDFC Bank, which I was currently looking at. And if we look at the pre-open, it is opening long. So 1980 was the previous day close, and the pre-open is 1981. So plus 1 point is where the pre-open is happening. So now what I'm looking for is some flush of inventory or some correction of inventory. Why? Because if you see the lows, so continuously, these are the zones where there are stops. So as the auction will open, I'm looking for a correction and accumulation, or basically some balancing, and then I'll be looking for particular correction to the lower side, because this is where there is liquidity, right, based on the order flow. Yep. So I'll continue showing this video on continuation basis. But if you have any comments, just let me know, and I'll be happy to jump in. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye for.